Welcome, dear listeners, to a truly inspiring journey. The story of a man who rose from a small coastal town in India to become one of the greatest scientists, leaders, and visionaries the world has ever known. You are about to listen to the complete life story of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the missile man of India, the people's president, and a humble soul whose wisdom continues to light millions of minds even today. Before we begin, take a deep breath and open your heart. Because this is not just the story of a man, it is the story of a dream. A dream that began in a small house by the sea, in the heart of a poor but proud family. A dream that touched the skies, reached the stars, and inspired generations. If you are learning English, this story will help you in a unique way. It will not only improve your listening and comprehension, but also teach you how emotion, rhythm, and language come together in storytelling. So as you listen, don't just focus on the words. Feel the message. Learn how a man's determination, humility, and purpose can shape the destiny of millions. Now, let's begin. Avul Pakir Jainul Abdin Abdul Kalam was born on October 15, 1931, in the small island town of Rameswaram in Tamil Nadu, India. The sound of the ocean filled his world. Waves touched the sand every morning, and the smell of salt hung in the air. His home was simple, a small house made of wood and palm leaves. His father, Jainul Abdin, was a boat owner and imam at the local mosque. He was not a man of wealth, but of wisdom and faith. His mother, Ashiyama, was kind, gentle, and generous. She would feed anyone who came to her door, even if she had little food left for her family. From them, Kalam learned two things that would guide his entire life: humility and compassion. Life was hard, the family was poor, and every coin mattered. To support his family, little Kalam sold newspapers in the mornings before going to school. Imagine the young boy walking barefoot along the sandy lanes of Rameswaram, his eyes full of dreams, the smell of ink and paper in his hands, and the sound of the ocean behind him. That boy would one day become the president of India. But at that moment, he was simply a dreamer. At school, Kalam was not the best student, but he was curious. He loved to ask questions, sometimes too many. His teachers saw that spark in him. One teacher, Siva Subramania Iyer, became a guiding light. He once took Kalam and his classmates to the beach to show them how birds fly. As the sun set and the sky turned orange, Kalam watched the birds glide effortlessly across the wind. That day he made a promise to himself. One day he too would learn to fly, not with wings, but with science. Kalam's childhood was also shaped by harmony. Though he was Muslim, his closest friends were Hindu. They ate together, studied together, and celebrated festivals together. That unity of faiths became a foundation for his philosophy. That humanity is greater than religion. When he finished school, Kalam left Rameswaram to continue his studies in Ramanathapuram and later at St. Joseph's College in Tiruchirappalli, where he studied physics. It was his first time living away from home. He missed his mother's cooking, his father's calm presence, and the sound of the sea. But he knew that to chase big dreams, one must leave the comfort of home. After graduating in physics, he realized he wanted more. He wanted to build machines that could fly. So he joined the Madras Institute of Technology, or MIT, to study aeronautical engineering. But the fees were high. His sister Zohara, sold her gold jewelry to help him pay for college. Kalam never forgot that sacrifice. He worked harder than ever before. At MIT, he faced challenges. The professors were strict, the deadlines tight, and the expectations high. One day, a professor gave him an almost impossible project: to design a small aircraft in just a few days. Failure meant losing his scholarship. Kalam worked without sleep, driven by determination. When he finally presented his model, it was flawless. His professor said, "You have the potential to do great things." That single sentence changed Kalam's confidence forever. After graduation, Kalam applied to become a fighter pilot in the Indian Air Force, his childhood dream. But destiny had other plans. He ranked 9th, and only 8 were selected. For days, he felt broken. He thought his dream had ended. But soon after, he met Swami Sivananda in Rishikesh, a wise spiritual teacher who told him, "Accept your destiny. You were not meant to fly airplanes. You were meant to make others fly." Kalam smiled. He realized that perhaps God had a bigger plan for him. He joined the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, as a scientist. It was 1958. His early projects were small, sometimes frustrating. India was still developing its science and technology base. Resources were limited, but his passion was boundless. He worked on hovercraft prototypes, studying aerodynamics and propulsion. Though the progress was slow, every challenge strengthened his resolve. Then came a turning point. He was transferred to the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO. There, under the guidance of visionaries like Dr. Vikram Sarabhai and Professor Satish Dhawan, he became part of India's dream to build and launch its own satellites. Those were the golden years of learning and teamwork. ISRO's mission was bold: to develop India's first satellite launch vehicle, known as SLV-3. The goal: to put an Indian satellite into orbit. The facilities were basic, the budget small, but the dream immense. Kalam was made the project director. It was a heavy responsibility for a young engineer. The first launch failed. The rocket crashed into the sea. The nation was disappointed, and the media mocked the scientists. Kalam was devastated. But Professor Satish Dhawan stood beside him and said, "The failure is mine. The success will be yours." That act of leadership became a lifelong lesson for Kalam. They tried again. For years, the team worked tirelessly, testing, failing, improving. And finally, on July 18, 1980, the SLV-3 successfully launched the Rohini satellite into orbit. India had entered the space age. Kalam stood on the launch site, his eyes filled with tears. He had touched the sky. That success made him famous across India, but fame never touched his humility. He said, "This is not my achievement. It is my country's." That was his way, always giving credit to others. But soon, a new challenge awaited. In 1982, Kalam was called back to DRDO to lead a new and ambitious project, the Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. Its goal: to make India self-reliant in missile technology. Under his leadership, India developed missiles like Agni, Prithvi, Akash, and Nag, each a symbol of strength and progress. These successes earned him the title Missile Man of India. He was now a national hero. Yet, he lived simply. He had no car of his own, no house in his name. He read books, played the veena, and loved to meet students. He believed that the true power of a nation lay not in weapons, but in its youth. In 1998, Kalam played a key role in India's nuclear tests at Pokhran. The world looked at India with new respect. The man who once sold newspapers was now one of the architects of a strong and self-reliant nation. For his contributions, he received the Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, and Bharat Ratna, India's highest civilian honor. But despite all this glory, he remained grounded. He often said, "I am not a scientist or a politician. I am a teacher in 2002, Doctor." APJ Abdul Kalam was elected the 11th President of India. People loved him deeply. He was not a politician, but a visionary, honest, humble, and full of warmth. They called him the People's President. He opened the doors of the Rashtrapati Bhavan to students and children. He wanted young people to dream big. He believed that by 2020, India could become a developed nation if every young person worked with passion and integrity. During his presidency, he wrote many books: Ignited Minds, India 2020, and his famous autobiography, Wings of Fire. Through his writings, he shared his experiences and dreams for the future. After his term ended in 2007, he could have retired in comfort. But that was not Kalam. He returned to teaching, traveling across India, speaking to students, encouraging innovation, and spreading hope. He used to say, "If you want to shine like the sun, first burn like the sun." Wherever he went, he was greeted with love and respect. Children adored him, and he always gave them time. He believed that the future of the nation was in their hands. He would often tell them, "Dream, dream, dream." Dreams transform into thoughts, and thoughts result in action. On July 27, 2015, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was at the Indian Institute of Management in Shillong, giving a lecture on creating a livable planet. As he spoke about vision and youth, he suddenly collapsed. The man who had inspired millions took his last breath doing what he loved most, teaching. The nation mourned deeply. People from all walks of life, students, soldiers, scientists, and leaders, came to pay their respects. His funeral in Rameswaram was attended by thousands. His body was laid to rest with full honors, near the same sea where he had once dreamed of flying. Even after his death, his message lives on. His life teaches us that no dream is too big, and no goal is impossible if your heart is pure and your work honest. He showed that success is not about where you start, but how far you are willing to go. Dr. Kalam believed that education is the most powerful weapon to change the world. He once said, "Teaching is a very noble profession that shapes the character, caliber, and future of an individual." His story continues to inspire millions across the world, a reminder that greatness comes from humility, discipline, and love for others. So as you finish this journey, remember this: you have within you the same potential. You have within you the same fire. You too can dream, struggle, and achieve. Just like Abdul Kalam did. He may have left this world, but his light continues to shine in every classroom, every laboratory, every young dreamer who believes that impossible is just a word. And as Dr. Kalam said, you have to dream before your dreams can come true. As this story comes to an end, take a moment to reflect. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's life was not just about science, missiles, or even the presidency. It was about purpose, about using knowledge to serve humanity. He taught us that no matter where you are born or how humble your beginnings may be, you can rise to greatness with hard work, faith, and compassion. Today, the world needs more dreamers. Dreamers who believe not only in their own success, but in the progress of humanity. If each of us takes even a small step toward honesty, creativity, and kindness, the world will be a better place. So as we close this journey, remember his timeless words. Don't just dream to live, live to make your dreams come true. Let this story not end here. Let it begin in your heart, in your actions, and in your vision for the future. Because the best way to honor Dr. Kalam is not by remembering his words, but by living his message. Thank you for listening, and never stop dreaming.